It is not looking that great for this week for the price of Bitcoin. In just a few hours, we are closing this weekly candle, and it does look like we want to form a bearish engulfing candle. Now, this is obviously not too great for the midterm, and yes, we could get a nice bounce throughout next week. However, it is very common to form a lower high after forming this kind of candlestick. Now, I can show you multiple examples. We had a bearish engulfing candle right over here, and we can see we got a little bounce here to the upside the next week, but overall, we did test the lows. Yes, getting an epic bounce later on, but overall, it means that you're likely going to be bearish for the next coming weeks, revisiting the lows. Now we have more bearish engulfing candles where we have one right over here. We can see the price getting a little bounce and overall moving to the downside. Of course, we got the bounce throughout the next coming weeks. So this is only kind of mid-term bearish scenario. And of course, we can get that bounce. Okay, so bearish engulfing candles usually mean that, yeah, you can get that bounce throughout the next coming days. However, it could be forming a lower high. Now, we were very much aware last week of this daily and bearish engulfing candle where we did get that massive body close beneath the previous day. And of course, we did get the bounce and we formed a lower high to get that continuation to the downside in the previous days. Now, as you can see here, all right, there's multiple examples. Of course, in this uptrend, we did not have any bearish engulfing candle, okay? When we do take a look at the weekly time frame, every time we do form a bearish engulfing candle, okay, we can see that we have a small one right over here, all right, on the weekly time frame. So we got this candlestick in the green and we closed beneath the previous week open. We got the bounce, but we continued to the downside. We didn't have many bearish engulfing candles throughout this zone, actually. You know, price of Bitcoin has been very bullish throughout the last few months. So the only one that I do see is right over here, which meant bounce and continuation to the downside. And also we have this one right over here that the next week got a little bounce, but then obviously got that movement to the downside, which formed a swing failure pattern to continue to the upside. So it's not looking too great. In just a few hours, we are going to be closing this weekly candle and we need to get back above $106,400 so we do not close bearish, right? Now, of course, if we do close bearish, we could be getting that bounce and we could get that continuation to the downside. So overall, let's take a look at the lower time frames and just want to let you know that I am still in that short position here because we had this general idea of the price forming this kind of zigzag ABCs, looking to get into the second wave here of this C wave or third wave to the downside. And I'm still in that short position. Of course, I am interested in long positions, which I am taking a look here with the legends and also the new community created. All right. If you are interested in that, we are looking to provide our setups. Okay. Myself and our analysts. Okay. We are looking to share our trading setups. Now, if you want more information on that, you want to join the free Telegram community, which is the third link down below in the description to get more information on that. But overall, let's do the general analysis here. On the 1 hourly time frame, we can see that we are holding by a thread that volume profile point of control, right? We have been testing it on Friday and we got a little bounce on Saturday. Now we're revisiting that zone, high volume node from this consolidation. The question is, will we hold this area? Well, when we go with the general idea of the bearish case scenario that we did mention here throughout last week, we can see how the price has moved down pretty aggressively, right? This was the bearish case scenario. Now the question is, will this be an ABC and it's a corrective move? We're just going to fly here from the next coming days, or are we forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We're forming a little bit of an impulsive move to the downside. And I do believe that will likely be the case if we close this bearish weekly candle, okay? But overall, let's take a look at the possibilities because, you know, looking at this price action, yeah, of course, we are at the point of control. Now, the question is this your wave 4 or are we going to get a little bit more of a bounce without overlapping here your wave 1, which is at $106,900? Of course, this would be the limit zone. Of course, you want to reject at the 382 or 50% Fibonacci taken here from the high of your wave 3 to the bottom of your wave 3. So you can see the most important zone of resistance is in between 105,300 and 105,900, right? That is for your potential wave 4, just in case this is an ABC formation. This is the zone that I would be interested in potentially looking for another short position. We also have a naked point of control from just a few days ago, okay? Right at that zone in between the 382 and the 50% Fibonacci retracement, okay? There is at 105,600 a naked point of control from this consolidation. So this is going to be a tough nut to crack. If we do get that bounce, okay, we form a higher low, something that I am looking at here with the community, all right, really monitoring here this local price action on the lower time frame. I'm talking about the 5-minute, 15-minute to see if it is possible to get that bounce. So overall, if we were to get that bounce, this is something that I am taking into consideration, right? We have the movement down here from Tuesday, right, and Wednesday, bounce. This is where I got into the short position, still holding part of that short position. And then this potentially the wave 3. Now the question is your wave 4 in right now? Or could we get that bounce to get that rally to this zone of $105,000 and $106,000? That's something that is very much a possibility. Or is that wave 4 in, okay? If we do get that bounce, we get a higher low, I'm going to be paying attention here inside of the community, all right, to see if it is good for a short position. We'll be monitoring the lower time frame to see the waves and the resistance and the reactions, okay? And take a look at bearish CVDs to see if that is a potential short day trade scenario. Now, if that wave 4 is in right over here and we do get a low, well, eventually with that drop that we have formed throughout the last few days, okay, since we created this 3-wave structure bounce, which was the general idea a few days ago, right? This was actually on Monday where we were analyzing this possible scenario and getting that move down to $103,000, as we can see here on the drawing, which is kind of playing out very, very nicely. So if we do take a look at that potential move to the downside, if this is going to be your wave 4, well, eventually after such an aggressive move down this week, okay, we can see how, you know, this is very, very likely going to come to the end stages. Now, if we were to get that movement down in that wave 5, well, eventually we could be breaking down below $103,000, maybe hit $102,000. So where could this 5th wave end? Well, it would be nice to actually get a liquidity grab, right? You got that higher low at $102,000 from the 19th of May. And this zone is really where we have the value area low. This is where the volume disappears. This is kind of the last level of support that you want to hold, at least in the short term, to get a potential nice bounce, regardless if it's going to be a couple of $1,000s. It might be 2, it might be 5. Overall, we are looking for a reaction in this zone just because it is the value area low. So this would be a zone that I would be very interested to look at the lower time frame and try and get into a very successful long trading setup with very good risk management. As you can see here, the value area low, this is where the volume disappears. There is a naked point of control from the 19th of May, which is sitting at 102,900. We barely just missed it on Saturday here with this continuation to the downside. So it would be nice to really analyze on the lower time frame that momentum to the downside, okay? I will be checking this here with the community to see if it is going to be good for a double bottom scenario, and then we're looking for a larger rally, at least to the point of control. This might be a day trade of $1,000 to $1,500, okay? But overall, I would be very interested in looking for a long position here, depending on how the price action reacts. If we do get an aggressive move down, we break down, and we do not get the reaction, then eventually the next level would be this one, $102,000, which would be interesting for that swing faded pattern, because if we lose this zone where there's no volume, okay, that is the moment where the price could really, you know, drop down very aggressively, right? A couple of $1,000s more to the downside to really sweep up all of the higher lows from this range. So I do think that this zone will hold, and that is a zone where I would be interested in really looking for a long position, either a sniper long position or form some local bullish market structure and then jump into the long position later on, okay? This eventually will be talked about in the community so we can get ready for the setups, guys. Remember, we are looking for shorts, we are looking for longs regardless, okay, of the trend. Of course, right now locally, the trend is bearish. Now, guys, remember that those exchanges that I use, okay, we got Weeks, we got Bluffin. We do have incredible bonuses down below in the description. On Weeks, you only need an email and a password. Look at all of the bonuses that you can claim. On Bluffin, you got 15% cash back. And on Weeks, you do have 25% fee reduction. Make sure to take advantage of those bonuses, guys, which is the first and second link down below in the description. Thank you very much for joining today, guys. We got that weekly engulfing candle. Let's see what happens, all right, in the next coming hours, because it might be bearish, all right? We might get that bounce that could form a lower high now in the next coming days. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.